This is NK, the Smart View. So today we'll be talking about the M Sport. Let's get back the M Sport Super Kick today. Today I'll be explaining something to you guys how I used to make my stakes on the M Sport platform using this simple strategy. Now let's get on. We'll be doing the play now. There's a current balance here of 1,800. Just make sure to pay attentiveness so that you'll be able to understand what I'm actually saying in this section right now. So to use this strategy now, what we make use of is during the hot period and cold period. That's how we know when to go in for the stake. What do I mean by a hot period or a cold period? Now look at this. Whenever you see that a particular, now this section, now this is what I do. I demarcate the color blue here, something looking blue here, to the color purple. Now whenever you see this color blue here, it means that that particular session now, the colors that are coming, or let's say the number ratio coming, is usually very low. Like if you look at blues now, you have 1.94, 1.20 something, 1.00, 1.23, 1.00, 1.92. But once you start seeing all this purple, you have odds like 300, 400, 2 odds, 5 odds, 11 odds, 16 odds. That is to tell you that whenever you're seeing these blues, it means that that period is only small numbers that are coming. Then whenever you're seeing this purple, only large numbers are coming. That's a very simple logic in playing this game. So how do I use this information now to make my game stake? Now what I do, as I told you, now I make use of hot periods and I make use of cold periods. Now what are hot periods? Hot period are period in which you can see this purple here are just so many on screen. If you look on screen now, in every of the display we can have, let me show you something. Get this now. In every display we can have, we can only see a total of how many balls on screen. That should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 particular what draws in a period. That is what we can see. That's the maximum we can see at once. So how do we use this information now to know hot and cold periods? All you have to do now is to look at, out of these 25 showing on screen, how many are blues and how many are purple. When you get that information, you know if it's a hot period, a cold period, or a neutral period. Now let's calculate that. On blue here you have 4 in this particular lane here. Now okay, it's always changing. That's one thing, it's always changing. Now you have 3 here. Now you have 3 here, that's 6. Now you have 1 here, that's 7. Now you have 3 here, 10. Now you have 2 here, 12. So that means out of 25 you have it how many times here? Just 12 times. That means you should surely have purple 13. That's here 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 purple, 12 blue. That means it's neutral. Let's get over to the next. Now when going to the next, now we do the same thing for the next 5 rows. So this is it. I stop here right now. So how many blue? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That means purple is 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. How about the next? Now the next, you will see what happens here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Whenever you see such a case like this, whereby a particular color starts getting up to 15 or 16 or 17, or majorly, you don't have to restrict yourself to just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can also go below and do this, or choose your best. Like if I'm going all the way from below now, I start trying to note where I can see blue being very dominant. And when I check such a place like this, it looks rather than like blue is dominant. Looking at your screen, you can, let's get out the rectangle here. It looks very much like blue is dominant here. So I try to calculate, is blue actually very dominant here? Let's check it out. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So 16 blue in 5 lanes means that you have just 9 purple there. So what this tells me is that at a point like this now, what I have to do is to start staking using this particular selection here. I will show you that soon. Using a selection like this now, I will start staking my game. This was where we calculated somewhere around there. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 blue here. What you do is that starting from after this 1.00, we start to play our games for purple to come out. And in the next 5 lanes, how many purple do we have? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Right, let's go down that. So let's say one, you can see this 33, 1, 2, it's always changing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now what we'll do is to keep on playing this our selection. I will show you that very soon until we can have something like this. You can see this now. You have purple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, up to 15 coming in 5 lanes before then you go cold. Now once you see something like this, you can see so much purple on the screen. It means that very soon now purple also will go retract and it will stop coming. What you're expecting now is to see a period whereby you have to see something like what, 15, 17 of these blues, showing that now if I would explain this is a hot period. A period whereby you see so many purples on screen is a hot period. Below here, as you can see so many blues on screen, is a cold period. So that's the difference. The hot period is when the cold period is when so many blues are on screen. 15 and above, it must always be 15 above. Once you see like 15 above in the last 5, check your last 2. As you can see in the last 2, joining that, you can still see 5. That means in the last 7 lanes you can have up to 20, let's say up to 20, 22 blues. That's a very good time for you to start staking in with the particular calculation I'll show you now. So moving forward, you can see that there is so much on the purple: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. A very good time for you to run away from your gameplay. This shows that very soon, as you can see, this blue 1.42, 1.37, they will start coming out so much that it has to, like, it just is much more of a scale of balance. When there's so much purple, the blue needs to come out to compensate. When there's so much blue, the purple has to also come out to compensate. So if you are staking, this is a time whereby you have to leave. Just leave immediately. If you don't, very soon you see that blue has to equalize on this, and you find out that majority of games starts going on blue, 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 blue. It will happen very soon. So how do we go about staking this now to make profit using this? Now, one thing you do is that if you're staking, never put the same amount on your lower odd to your higher odd. So what is the lower odd? For me now, I devised this strategy using my first odd on auto cash out, whereby I tap on the auto cash out, I put my first odd at 1.90. So once this round automatically reaches 1.90, it takes out my profit automatically. I don't need to be there to stake it in. All I just have to be doing is to be monitoring to know when the hot season is over. I only play during the hot season when we can get 1.90 and 2.80. 2.80 easily. 1.90, then 2.80. There is it here. That means once I get to 1.90, the system takes out my profit. Like such a session like this is eligible. This 2.89. Once I get to 1.90, it takes out the profit. Once I get to 2.80, it takes out the profit. So if you have played in such a case like this, you would have won your game. So what I do now again is to put it on auto bet like this, and also I make my stake using a 7-to-5 ratio. Now imagine that I'm to stake this now. I can go this 17 naira and put this 15 naira. That is a ratio 7-to-5. The ratio 7 should be on your smaller odd. The ratio 50 should be on your bigger odd. The reason why I do this is that even if your game just comes out at 1.90 or 2.00, or it's not able to meet up with this 2.80 odds, because of the fact that you use the higher amount on this lower odd, now you will still make profit that will cover up for the loss of this particular amount that you staked in for the higher odd. That is, in this case of 70 to 1.90, your total returns is 133 naira. When you calculate 70 here plus 50 is 120. That means even when the game comes out at just 1.90, let's check for a case scenario. Something like this 2.02 did not get to 2.80. In such a case scenario, we are not making a loss. Like look at this now, 2.00. It was up to 1.90 but less than 2.80. In this case scenario now, we made no loss. Rather, we just got our returns back, then also an addition of 13 naira on it. And that's how it is. Very simple to go about. So if you are to go with a higher stake, let's say 140, you have to increase this now. Let this round start up so we can. This 140, this has to be 100. It's just a ratio of 7 here to 5 here, and that's how you go about it. So whenever you are not able to meet up to the target, you at least get your capital back, then with a little profit of, let's say, 0.13%. That's how it is on every gameplay. So getting over to history now, you can see what I'm talking about. We have started getting to the cold period. there are so many blues. Now, out of the last 10 games, we've had 7 blues. Then before the next 20 games, we might have up to 16 blues out of 25 of the next games. And once you see that your blues now have gotten to like 16, 19, in the last 5 game rounds, the last 5 lanes or rows, once you see that a blue is like up to 15 and above, check your last two. Just add this one now, add this one too. In this case now, imagine blue here like this 3 here, then also blue here like this 4 as purple. Is just know that it's a cold period and you need to start going in for the hot season, and you just auto stake, put your game on auto stake here. Once you finish setting the parameters of the odds and then the amount to stake in, put your game on auto bet like this and leave it. It will keep on betting and betting like that until you can see that it's a hot period like this. So like this, whereby you have up to 14, 15 of the purple appearing within a session. Like here you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Stop your gameplay right here. Once you see something like this, stop your gameplay right here, because from the next section you might see something like this. You can see blue dominating here. There's out of the last 15 games, there have been 10 blues, 5 purple, and it will keep on like that until blue finally dominates the board. And that's how to go about using this on the M Sport Super Kick.